It's there.
Welcome to Meat Pies and Shots, Part 3. With me, Johnny Compton.
And me, Dan Tomlinson.
Right. Salford.
Impressive, I think you've got to say.
Yeah, says me, hands held up, right up here. Had them down as 12th, didn't I?
At least you're honest when you're talking rubbish, I guess. Not that I want to talk. They've impressed me, Salford. It goes without saying, Jackson Hastings is a really good rugby league player. He's been a good addition to Super League. I know it's a bit cliche to throw this around, but it's like off the field as well, how good he is with Salford fans and rugby league fans in general. We saw a little bit of it with David Fifita when he came to Hull last week. He was like, passing the ball with kids near the West Stand. It's just little things like that. I know it's good to see. It's what makes rugby league players the best sportsmen out there. The fact that they can interact with fans, and unless you're Kingston Rovers, of course.
Do you think with Jackson Hastings that because of how well he's doing off the pitch, people are more receptive to what he's doing on the pitch as well, and perhaps his performance has been blown a little bit out of proportion?
I think there's probably a little bit of that, yeah, because when you get obviously a bit of popularity off the field, people's eyes are instantly drawn to him on the field. I think he's been very good. You can't dispute that.
I'm not saying he hasn't been. Salford have been very good full stop.
He's not like Super League's best player or anything like that, but he's been a very good player for Salford. Yeah. I don't think we can dispute that.
And what I would say is, when you say he's not Super League's best player, that's what he's effectively being built up as at the moment, I think, in some quarters. And you talk about, people are saying, they're going to games to watch Jackson Hastings. Now, Jackson Hastings is off the field excellent, super exemplary. And somebody who came to Super League with a bit of a bad reputation, really, for that side of things.
Yeah, we said this in part 1, didn't we? Manly, maybe Cherry Evans is the problem.
Who knows? But no, Salford, I think you look at him, Niall Eval's going to fullback is a master stroke. He's the pace there he gives him. And look at Jake Bibby in the centre.
Yeah,
again.
Good, doesn't he?
Another 2 tries, yeah. Absolutely.
They're all substitute for pace.
A young kid being given a crack in the centre and going from there. I do think they've got some weak spots. You look at their right edge and you look at Chris Wellham and Darryl Olferts, and I think that's an edge where you can get at them.
Yeah.
Jansen Tergate is doing a very good job for them from Hull. And I had an argument online with somebody, well, not an argument, but...
Debate.
Yeah, debate's the right word.
Or you explaining why you're right.
Yeah, I explained how I was right and now they were wrong. They were saying that, we shouldn't let him go at Hull FC and we should have had Jansen Tergate. My point was, in a salary cap sport, Jansen Tergate's position in Hull FC's squad was that he was a backup player. He wasn't our frontline second rower. And he was at a stage in his career where he needed to play. I saw a story last week where he actually spent the end of last year on loan at Salford, playing for nothing, playing first team at Salford for nothing, effectively as a trialist to earn a deal this year. Got a deal this year, been one of their best players throughout the year and done a really good job. But that's because he's playing week in, week out and he's backed his ability. If he was still at Hull FC, he would be up against Jordan Lane for a spot in our squad at the moment, and Jordan Lane isn't even making our 17.
Which I don't agree with. That's something. I'd rather have Jordan Lane over
Dean Adler. Yeah, I get that, and that's a debate. That's an argument as to whether he should be in the 17 or not. But what isn't debate, and it's a debate whether Tergate's a better player than Lane or Lane's a better player than Tergate. I'd probably say Lane's a better player than Tergate myself. But that spot in our squad, there wasn't room for a Lane and a Tergate, I don't think. And so he's done the right thing going
He's playing every week, isn't he? If he was at all, and that's the question they just asked, it'd be playing in the reserves once every 3 weeks, and it'd be shipped off to Doncaster, or in your Jack Logans and your Brad Fash's case, you sent on a month's loan to Toronto. So it's a great career move for him. And you got to wish him all the best, don't you? You hope that form continues and he can keep doing that at Salford. I do think the top 5 for Salford could maybe a bit too much to ask, but I mean, I tipped them for 8th, and I think that's about right. They're going to be mid to low.
I agree with you. I think that's where they'll fall down to.
And that'll be a good season.
No,
that'll be a great season for Salford, especially what happened in the field. Losing Kokash and all that, and all the the drama that was involved with his tenure.
They've cut the cloth accordingly, haven't they? And they've built a team, a solid. Ian Watson, what a job he's doing.
Yeah. See, that's someone that Leeds or Wigan should go for.
Yeah, I agree. Where I think Salford fall down is their depth in terms of their frontline forwards, their middles there. You look at the props and they're doing a decent job now. You take one again, a common theme. I've said this in other parts, but you take one or two out of their pack, and there is a big hole there for Salford, and they don't necessarily have the backup players to come in and fit, or the money to replace them if they bring somebody in. There's been a lot of talk about maybe bringing the halfback Ryan Brealey in. But they can't seem to find the funds to get it over the. Chris Nanino is training with them at the moment. If the funds were there, I think they'd have it.
Yeah,
they'd have him in the side, and that's. I talked about it. Chris Wellham on that right edge. Really, they need a replacement for him. He's been a decent, solid citizen for them, but if they want to challenge for the playoffs, they need better than Chris Wellham in that position.
That's true. But like you say, the building and a mid-table finish for them would be respectable, and then hopefully if they get some funds, keep the attendances going. Academy as well is a big thing. I don't know how they're going to go forward with that, but Manchester's a huge, it's a huge city, and it has produced players before. Callum Watkins was born and bred in Manchester, so I don't know if they can work together with your Leeds, your
There's a lot of competition in that area, isn't there?
Because the problem is it's 20 minutes to Wigan, it's 20 minutes to Warrington, 20 minutes to St Helens, 20 minutes to Widnes, isn't it? So I get where they're coming from, but hopefully they'll be able to do something on that department. They need an academy, don't they? Because you just mentioned Jake Bibby, he came through that academy. Yeah. So there is players that can.
Stefan Ratchford has Jordan Turner, Richie Myler. These are all Salford kids.
So clearly it's an area that works. And maybe it's an opportunity for kids that maybe don't get signed up by Warrington, St Helens, or players that get dropped from those academies. Salford could be a backup option. They need to get that area of their club right, and once they do that, then they can start to think, seriously and dream big. And they've definitely got potential. That's one thing you will give them. You just hope that they can. The people of Salford. I don't know if the new ground, whether it's less desirable because it is out on a limb in it. It's not in actual. It's not even in Salford.
It's easy to get to.
It's for us, yeah. It's great. It's straight off the motorway. That's if you can get out the car park. It's not great to get out of, is it? But they need to get obviously the crowds up, don't they, and build their infrastructure of the club and get that going. But as I said, they're likeable. I've got nothing against Salford, and you hope that they can, obviously prosper and get a better future for them going. Wakefield, again, while I'm on a likeable club streak, there's nothing to dislike about Wakefield. The owner, Michael Cartner.
Awful.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that back. The ground, yeah. But when we're talking about the only thing to dislike about Wakefield's the ground, that's not bad, is it? The owner, born and bred in West Hull, Michael Cartner, Hull FC, childhood fan, so there's nothing to dislike.
So I was looking at he seriously considered walking away from Wakefield at the end of last year due to his sort of work-life balance and everything that it took out of him. And he's done nothing short of work miracles for that club. And I think that, I don't know whether they've announced it yet or they're on the verge of announcing it, but David Fafita's meant to be signing or has signed.
And that's a massive call for them.
That's a for another 2 years.
He's been very good for Fafita. Along with Paulie, Craig Kopchak, Tiri Arona, is that right? Tinny Arona, yeah, we've got great pronunciation. But, they're all big blokes that I thought might struggle with these rule changes, but Johnny, no, I'm talking rubbish. I had him as low as 9th. I'm sorry, Wakefield. You're a much better team than I give you credit for.
I had you in 5th, Wakey, all the time.
So, yeah, just listen to Johnny. I'm just going to go in my corner.
Where I'm coming from with that, though, where I was all along was, if you had a big... Right, and I'm going to harp on a little bit about Rovers here, but they've got a big bloke in Mossy Masoe who plays 15-minute spells, 15, 20-minute spells tops. That's somebody who's going to be impacted by less interchanges. Yeah. You get David Fafita, who actually plays up to 60 minutes. It's not going to be... He can play that. He's doing it already. Even Paulie, the size of him, but played 60, 70 minutes the majority of
Paulie's on an edge. You can hard out on that edge. A bit like Ben Maynard Masilla does. And then you can prolong your minutes, can't you? You can pick and choose when you run your lines, and obviously it depends on which side of the field you go into. Fafita, it's been really impressive for me. Good footwork, he's powerful, he seems to be a nice bloke as well, but he does like to whinge to the ref, doesn't he? I think I noticed every play the ball against Hull, he was trying to whinge and
I think Wakefield were a bit like that. They were in the referee's ear when we saw them, and it's something creeping into the game, but they were noticing.
That's not a dig at Wakefield, can we put that there now? That is something that's creeping across the whole competition. I even noticed it in the NRL actually.
Jacob Miller is the one who's bad for it. They've got a well balanced squad, haven't they? Well balanced team.
Really well balanced team.
And I do think, again, I've gone 5th, and I think that's about right for them.
Can I revise my prediction? I'll stick with them. Obviously, they're there to take the mickey out of us when we get them all wrong. But wait, I know. I already know 6 round.
But I've already got Salford as 12th, and I want to revise that.
I'll stick with my table just so you can all laugh at me later. And Wakefield will not finish 9th. I've definitely got that one wrong.
We'll see.
They'll be in the playoffs for me. I think they're a playoff team.
Wigan.
Do you know what, right? I'll start off with Wigan, right? Last year, so we had all this stuff, didn't we? Robert Elston came in, revolutionised the competition, and all this stuff that came out. And we were led to believe that the breakaway from the RFL involved, McManus is at St Helens, your Morans at Warrington, and your Ian Lennigan's at Wigan. So one of the front runners of the competition that wants Super League to break away, be more independent, be a competition for the big boys, all the teams with the big bucks, and they can't even get a coach to sign a contract.
Well, the rumour...
It's a mockery, isn't it? It's laughable.
Sean Edwards turned around and said in his press conference this weekend that he agreed a deal, was fully expecting a contract to be sent to him.
Sean Wayne then?
Sean Edwards.
I don't know why I heard you say Wayne then.
Sean Edwards fully expected a contract to be sent to him. I might have said Sean Wayne. He's made me doubt myself now. Anyway, and they turned around and said to him, "Don't worry about that. We can sort that later on." Which is a very funny thing.
Weird,
now you listen to the meltdown from the Wigan fans, and their take on it is that they've been used a little bit, or this information has been used to drive season ticket sales last year, bearing in mind there was no real signings other than Zach Hardacre coming in.
Aren't their fans a set of plastic morons? Right, you've won... I don't understand the gripe with Sean Wayne. Right, the way I look at it, right...
Well, Sean Wayne should still be their coach.
He should still be their coach, yeah. He won them Challenge Cups, 2 Super Leagues in the past 3 years, 2016 and 2018. We're lucky at all because we've got Jake Connor, we've got Albert Kelly, and they're worth the admission fee alone because the things they do on a rugby league field are mesmerising. But if you told me Hull would be the dullest, most boringest team in the history of Super League and sent you to sleep every week, but they won silverware every year, couldn't care less.
Okay, as long as we win.
So all that matters is the 2 points, and all that matters is getting your mitts on your trophies. What was the gripe with Sean Wayne? I really do not understand it. He was a winner. He doesn't demand anything less than success. If you don't get success, he'll shove you out. He's a born winner, and to bin him off for something as petty as as an incident with between 2 brothers in a barmaid. And I went to Wigan at the end of the Super Rates, and I got chatting outside Pizza Hut, as you know when you're in Wigan.
You don't look like you got Pizza Hut, man.
I had a salad. We did the salad bar. But anyway, we got talking to 3 Wigan fans. Lettuce and cucumber, yeah. We eat a lot of it, as you can tell. And these 3 Wigan fans claimed that Ian Lennigan was furious with the Tompkins brother incident and wanted both brothers shipped out of the club. As we know, Joe went instantly, Sam went a few months later to Catalans. Whether or not that deal was signed before that incident happened, who knows. But they claimed that it was either the Tompkins brothers went or Lennigan would spit the dummy out. In the case, that's what he did. Sean Wayne said, "No, they're not leaving over my dead body. I'm not having it. I want the Tompkins brothers to stay at my club." So Lennigan went, "Well, you can bugger off as well then." And that's what happened, and that's why Sean Wayne ended up leaving the club. It's interesting. Obviously, I'm not putting that out there as fact. It's just what I heard. It's just gospel. It's what them 3 fellas told me. But it's an interesting story, and it's something Wigan fans, comment, let us know your thoughts. It'd be great to actually get to the bottom of this, because from an outside point of view, it seems absolutely ludicrous that you'd let Wayne go.
I bet they'd have the Tompkins brothers back as well.
Well, that's the thing. You let Joel go, and then obviously they must have known back then. Everyone knew that Bateman was going, didn't we? I mean, a
lot of leadership disappeared out of that team, didn't it, last year? When you look at Tompkins went, Bateman went.
Even Ryan Sutton, a young prop, but a very good prop.
Yeah.
It's
These are kids that would make you 17 comfortably every week. And
absolutely.
Wigan are a weaker team this season. And I pegged it early doors. I said before the season. The key thing for me is there's no kicking game there. You've got a short kicking game in George Williams, but how reliant are Wigan on George Williams to create something?
Well, when your other halfback's Thomas Lowe, are you very reliant, aren't you?
Yeah. Or Jared Sammett's coming in. And Jared, all due respect, they're not Wigan players. They're not. He's not a Wigan standard scrum half. Is Jared Sammett. You look at your traditional sevens who have played for Wigan over the years. There's some real names out there, and Jared Sammett's not that player. He's a decent, but and this is the job they brought him in was to come off the bench and spark something up and offer something alternative. And recruitment's been poor. They're trying to play a different structure. What structure they're trying to play, I don't know, because it just seems headless chickens.
Lam says that he reckons they'll improve when the weather improves. Is that everyone's excuse? I'll just wait till summer comes around.
God help him if anything happens to Sean O'Loughlin. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, literally the glue there, isn't he?
Warrington.
I think they've been, again, a bit like St Helens, they've been good. They've done what they've needed to do.
The masters of the salary cap.
Oh, mate, their accountant is a genius, isn't he? We got a little bit of that when we signed Sevilla. It's like, how did all fit in the cap?
Because we were at cap, and half these teams saying that they're at the full salary cap aren't anyway. They're just at the top of what they've put down for what they're prepared to spend this year.
Then that'll be it. That'll be the difference.
The top end of what their budget is for the year. That's all. And there's room for manipulation with the salary cap and moving it around. And if you've got an owner who's prepared to back your team, then it happens. And that's Bradford alluded to it when we signed Andre Savelio. He thanked the owner for putting his hand in the pocket and bringing him in early. So
I must admit, I'll hold my hand up. I've been guilty of Adam Pearson. I thought his ambition had completely stagnated, but that's a sign of intent, isn't it? Andre Savelio, Warrington. They're the most forward-thinking club for me. They've got obviously an owner in Simon Moran, that cares about their club, that wants their club to prosper, and they'll continue to do that until they actually, win the Super League trophy. Whether this will be their year or not, who knows? I mean, history says no, doesn't it? Blake Austin's come in. For me, right, I watched Blake Austin last year at Canberra, and he was absolutely gash. He's not a domineering halfback, is he? He's not a Mark Sneed that's going to lead you around the field. And I know I'm a bit stealing your thunder because you said this in part one, but the way I look at it, right, we are massively fortunate at Hull because we know that Jake Connor and Albert Kelly do all the gloss, all the stuff that's going to make your headlines, but without Mark Sneed, we're screwed. If Mark Sneed played in that cup game against St Helens last year, Hull lost 25-22, Kelly and Connor were your two halves, but if Hull had Sneed in there to guard them around the field, to put them kicks in, turn the ball over in the right areas, all would have won that game. It's a fact. And I just find it mesmerising how Sneed still gets criticised by certain pundits, Mr. Schofield, while he champagnes people like Jordan Lilly and Danny Richardson. I just don't understand it because Sneed's management is second to none. When it's tough and when you need to, you need your halfback to stand up, you need.
It just took me a minute to laugh, mate.
You need your players to stand up and be counted for. Sneed does that. Your halfback, he's a domineering halfback, and that's what Warrington needed, in my opinion. Stephen Ratchford, very good player.
Best fullback in Super League for me.
Yeah,
and I know people talk. As an OFC fan, Jamie Shaw's been excellent. Stephen Ratchford is.
He's phenomenal, yeah. Declan, that's what I mean with Warrington. You've got Ratchford at one, Declan Pat alongside Blake Austin. That's not a half-back combination that's going to win Super League for me. And I think they will come unstuck. I had him as second in the table. I think they will finish second. But if you throw this out now and said it'd be a Cass Wire grand final, I'd go Cass. If you said it'd be Saints Wire, I'd go Saints. I really would. I don't think they're capable of winning Super League. I think they will come unstuck. I think
if they are to win anything, it'll be on the back of Darryl Clark.
Yeah, obviously he's second best to Robbie, isn't he?
And I don't know. I've got Darryl Clark above Robbie so far this year, and I know people bang on about Robbie. It's almost like he's just got to pull a shout on and he gets man of the match without.
He has been good though. He has been very good this season.
And Darryl Clark has been outstanding for me. For me, he's been the best player in the league as an individual. Darryl Clark. You watch his performances as an individual. Every carry, he beats the first man. He's good in contact. His defence is massively underrated. He puts shots in left, right.
Well, he's seen as a target, isn't he? Because obviously he's not. His height's reasonable, but he's not the biggest ball.
I tell you what, I won't run straight at him. He can put a shot on, can Darryl Clark.
Yeah,
he's very underrated.
People do it all without him, don't they? People do it with Shane at Cass, and he'll still sit you on your backside, won't he? So
it's nice to see Ben Curry back with them.
Yeah,
and has added something. Medoc Masilla on that edge as well, rather than him using him as a batting ram, is a weapon. I think I agree with you though. I think Declan Patton and Blake Austin are not an halfback pair.
They're carrying a lot of bang average players though. This is the problem. Lamataza, you made 10 metres last week. What's the point of having on? What's the point of him turning up? They're still carrying some.
Jack Hughes has been impressive, and But then for every Jack Hughes, I think in the team also you've got a Chris Hill who's not been at the same level, and Mike Cooper's not been at the same level.
And that's the problem. They're carrying so much, bang averageness, for the want of a better word, or a more sinister word. I'm sure you can think of a few more. For me, they will come up stuck. I mean, they're carrying people like Tom Lanham in the team, which tells
well, no, he's not getting in at the minute, is he? Jake Mamo's gone in, but I don't mind Tom Lanham. I agree with you. Warrington second. I don't think they'll win anything.
No. And we'll leave that there. Join us in part 4 in a minute.
It's there.